Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Bilal Khan and you're watching Simplified Coding. So today we have with us Himanshu Singh and he's right now in India, but he's from Germany and he will tell us about FOMO in Android development. So I think the stage is yours, Himanshu. You shall start.
Right, right.
Just wait for a few minutes to let's see how many people are joining because we messed up with the last stream. So just wait for 2 minutes, okay? I'll also check in the app everything's working fine or not.
Definitely. Let's wait.
Yeah. Okay, so people are coming. I think now we should start. Okay.
Yeah. Should I go ahead, or is there any specific question we should go with?
I will take the questions at the end, but right now
hmm
you can start. If you want me to share your screen, I can do it.
hmm Okay. Do you want me to present because I'm not
Or
ready
you
for
can just
present?
talk, no
Yeah.
problem.
So I'll go speak about it. So
Okay.
basically, it was more of discussing all my experiences of last 5 years, what I have been into Android and not. So FOMO was all about that of what not to do. When you talk about Android engineering or non-Android engineering, per se, or any technology, whatever we think about, the biggest problem is everyone you see will speak about what to do, what not to do, what latest technology is, Google kya upload kar raha hai, and everything what you can think of. But people generally forget the basic agenda of you know software engineering is that you need to build softwares that work for users. That was pretty much the whole idea about what FOMO was about. So if you have to generalize FOMO, it's basically fear of missing out. So what happens is, if I have to give an example about it, for example, every year Google launches some latest technology in Google I/O, correct? So when something comes up in Google I/O, we are very excited. Let's say last year I think Lambda launched. This year it's Google API services or something. So they are there, right? So when you talk about multiple things, we are always excited for new technologies. I am excited as well, but that does not define that that specific technology or the software or the library has to be integrated for the users right away. Correct? And why I'm saying this is because one of the best examples I give to everyone is WhatsApp is still in Java without coroutines, obviously. It is still one of the most widely used apps in the world. Nobody complains about that this app is bad. Everybody talks about we use WhatsApp. Nowadays, if you have to ask for someone's number, you do not go and say, give me a number. You say, do you have a WhatsApp? So WhatsApp has become that brand, what we talk about, right? So that's an example of not using latest technology, but having a solid product in the market. That's how I believe a product should be. So when I speak about again FOMO, it should be more about when we graduate. That's an example. When we graduate, we do not graduate as a Android engineer. We do not graduate as a backend engineer. We generally graduate as an engineer, computer, mechanical, software, whatever. But like you qualify as an engineer, and that degree or the job title specifies what kind of engineer you are. So why not we become the engineers we graduated for? Like I will be a computer engineer who can write Android apps, who can write iOS apps, who can do whatever I want to do. I do not want to associate myself with a title. Correct? So that is where I just want to pursue and come up with these things, that please wait before you think about integrating libraries, new fancy tech. For example, KMM is very latest hot topic in the market. Every day, every second day, someone will post something about KMM. But that does not mean that your app requires it. If your app works fine with view models, work with it. If your app does not have a view model and you do not see a need of view model, do not integrate it. My whole point to summarize is, if something is needed in your application, use it. If there is nothing need of anything, just skip it. Do not do it because of a fancy tech, because at the end It is a product we work on, correct? But it's not the fancy tech or the latest technologies. We have to consider always from the side of the user, because when a user uses the app, they do not know कि ये Kotlin है, Java है, whatever it is. They just know this is an app by this product. As an engineer, it's our responsibility to make sure user is happy, technical team is happy, the owners, stakeholders, product owners are happy. But we should not put the company at stake saying that we should have latest technologies to work with, and let's hold on the product. Let's not sell it until we rewrite it in KMM, Compose, or anything. So that's whole summarization of what FOMO actually meant. That I can see n number of things on the social media, but do I need to know n number of things? No. Whatever I know is important enough for me to survive in my job, unless and until something is needed. Unless if I go to a new company or my company decides to integrate Compose, I do not need to know about Compose. It's okay to be there. So that's the agenda which I was trying to explain. I know it could be controversial, but it was the one.
Okay. So one thing I would like to ask, like, what are your views about the fancy new tech that is Jetpack Compose?
Hmm. Okay. See, Jetpack Compose is, how do you put it? Is the next big thing of Android. Definitely, it's the biggest thing. But it's the right way. If somebody would have asked me 2 years back that do I need to integrate Compose, I would have out and out said no, you should not, because it's unstable. Right now, Android team, Google team is pushing a lot towards Compose. So if you have a separate team which does not work on the user side or the user facing side, please go ahead and use Compose, start integrating, have a plan with it, but do not halt your product to integrate Compose. Compose is one of the best things, one of the best ways to build UI. Personally, I love it. For the last 2 3 years, 2.5 years, I've been working on it. We rewrote an entire application of 6 million users, daily active users, into Compose. So it's a very nice way to put it out. But it should not come at the cost of the company's increment or the salaries or payments, anything a user which faces out, right? So whenever you work with something, not just Compose, but anything, please make sure that you do not like put the company at stake. So Compose, yes, but not at stake of anything else.
Okay, that's awesome. So now I think we will start taking questions. So you guys, uh, if you have any question, just post it on the comment section, and I will take them one by one.
Yeah, and before that, I just
So
have
I
one more small
think,
thing to add.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, sure.
I spoke about FOMO, but there is also a thing called FOSSM. And FOSSM is a very big thing, and the full form stands for fear of social media. That, generally everywhere we are on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, every day we see three things. Either someone is launching a good, amazing project. Second, either someone is switching jobs, or the third point being is uh, something new came up in the market. And at that point, we start introspecting that do we really know anything? Are we good enough to be an engineer there? So we start introspecting there and doubting ourselves that we should do this or not, right? So at that point, I would just say there are going to be billion of things coming around on social media, and it does not make sense that you have to stand there and wait for it. Just do whatever you know, whatever you have been doing, just do that. Follow the process. My whole 2 cents to this would be: do not jump guns to be an expert or just to say that I work on fancy tech. Follow the process. Everything has a right time to be integrated, to be learned. So do not learn because somebody else is already doing working on it. So give yourself time, make full use of whatever you could. Think about it. Do you really need something? And then jump onto it. So being on social media is nice. It's pretty amazing. You'll get to connect with multiple people. I'm also there, by the way. But that does not also mean that you start self-doubting yourself. So one of the lines I always came up with: it's okay to say no, that I would not learn anything, rather to be in FOMO. So don't be in FOMO. Just say no. I do not need it this right now, but whenever I'll need it, I'll learn it. That's how you can go with it.
Oh, awesome. So there is an interesting question that I would like to take first.
Sure.
So the guy Adarsh Kumawat, he's asking basically, Shall we go with Flutter or still with native Android development? So we are native developers. So what's your take on it?
See, and I would not be controversial. I'll try to be nice enough. But uh, you know, both of the platforms, either Flutter or native, they are there to exist, coexist together. So even in Flutter, you cannot write everything in Flutter. At certain point, you would need to write native codes, as what I understand. And also, do not always be dependent upon a cross-platform framework. I'm not saying that is bad, but it's very nice to know native engineering because, as a friend of mine once said, that there were a lot of frameworks before Flutter. Ionic, PhoneGap, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
everything came and went away. But native was there, is there, and will be there because without native, no class platform can survive. That's what I believe. So whatever you do, it still renders it into the native code to make it work, right? In their own engines or whatever. So I would say Flutter and Kotlin or native are there to coexist together. It does not have to be a competition. But if you ask me personally, I would any day choose native because of the job scopes. See, Flutter, React Native, all of these are new tech. At least companies are adopting it them now. But when you start looking for jobs in bigger companies, they're already there in the native application. So a scope, I at least what I've seen outside is native is way more important. But yes, if you know Flutter, they exactly like they both have their own separate use cases. It's nothing wrong in learning either of it. But my personal choice, if you ask me, it would always be native.
Yeah, that's what I also tell to people that the choice of the technology depends upon the problem that we are trying to solve. So it's
Correct.
not like black and white. I like it's never black and white for these type of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll take some more questions. I'll start from the beginning. Okay, so I am just 1 year of experience. Should I be concentrating more on dependency injection or should I learn it after an year? The question is from Dinesh K.
That's a very interesting question. I'll go with this way. Dependency injection is not Dagger. Period. For Android engineering, what we have started thinking is dependency injection is Dagger or Dagger 2 or Dagger 1. Dependency
Your
injection is
voice,
Dagger or Dagger 2 or Dagger
sorry,
whatever,
Himanshu,
hilt.
I think your
But if
voice
you are,
broke. So, uh, hello, Himanshu?
hello, I'm still there.
Hi.
I don't know, I was
Yeah,
kicked
yeah,
out for some reason.
your voice broke for a moment, so you should start again, I think.
Hello,
Hello.
hello,
Hello.
I'm still there. Yes, no, no. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, so yeah. Sorry, I think this was breaking up, but now I think this there. So as I
Yeah.
was saying, dependency injection does not define, you know, so if you
Again,
want to
your
learn dependency injection, and then move on to, uh, folks,
can you
I'm
check your
not sure
internet?
if
I
you
think
can,
there's a problem.
oh, I can see you moving. Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. Now it's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, so again, going back to the answer, and I'm sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So, if you want to understand dependency injection as a rule, as a process, what it is, what underlying Dagger works with, right? Do not just jump onto a library. So I would say understand the theory part of it first, how that works, and then jump onto using any library, Hilt, Dagger, Dagger 2, anything, whatever works for you.
Yeah, yeah, because it is just a pattern, just a design pattern.
Correct.
Okay, so this is just dependency. Not it is not
Yeah.
at all related to Android. And like the environment has been built like this, like we understand Dagger as dependency injection, but both the things are different. So that's what you need to understand. uh, so there is one more question related to this, and the guy is asking, I cannot see his name. So he was asking like, what should I choose, Dagger or coin, or hilt or coin, something like that he asked. So what do you want to say?
Hello.
Hello, my voice broke.
I did not get the question. Sorry. For
So
some.
the guy is asking what library for dependency injection we should use. Either it is Coin or Hilt or Dagger.
That depends on your project, your use case. Uh, if it's Dagger 2, just use Dagger. I personally use Hilt because my project is migrated to Hilt. So whatever works better for your profile,
Okay. Awesome.
right? So that depends on your use case. I've not used coin, so I cannot comment on that.
Yeah. So Abhijit Kumar is asking, we have a hybrid Compose XML app where mini
Hmm.
screens are dependent on Compose view. How sustainable
Correct.
is this, or we should stick to either fully XML or Compose?
No, at certain point, you are on the right approach that using Android views to integrate Compose. So you're on the right track. And on later stage, I am highly sure that you would need to migrate that as well in Compose, but that's a gradual step. You cannot jump onto Compose and rewriting everything. So you are on the right way, but keep doing that. And whatever new screens you build in Compose, so that on the longer run, you have things with Compose, and then you can jump back to this and rewrite onto it with Compose again.
Okay, so the same guy is asking another quick question. Android
Sure.
team has lately been promoting unidirectional data flow with actions and states. Is it
Correct.
time maybe we should start considering MVI as one of the mad skills?
Okay, I'll reiterate a FOMO line which I said. There is no certain architecture which is the recommended way. Even Google does not recommend it. Google just tells you this is a nice way to follow this. This is one of the things we follow. But would they recommend you to you? No. A, a app can work perfectly fine if it's an MVP, MVVM, MVI without an architecture. Telegram app, I don't think has an architecture. It's an MVC. So if you know MVVM, and if your work app works fine, it's perfect. Do not stick yourself to an architecture. You just need to know, what's the best way to write a code. Architecture is will follow. Couple of years back, if you would have asked this question, you would just have replaced MVI with MVVM, and now you are saying MVI. Maybe at certain stage it would be MVX. Anything can be there. So do not associate yourself with an architecture. It's good to know how that works, but do not associate yourself. You should know clearly what things are for. For example, you should not write a UI layer in view model. You should be clear with that. Correct. So do not associate that using view model to a MVVM pattern. So do not associate there. Just keep on using whatever works fine for you.
Okay, now there is a person named Ackerman, and he's asking, how can we back up users' data if we have backend as Firebase only?
I'm not sure what the question means, like backup user data. You can download a JSON file, you can dump all the data of the user on a file and have it, and maybe
And
sync that
upload it
file
to
to
Firebase
Firebase
storage.
storage.
Yeah,
Yeah, that could
that's
be another way, but do not do it. If they're a European user, they will sue you for that. You cannot just claim someone's data. So you need to be sure, but if I'm not sure if I answered your question.
yeah. There are multiple ways you can store it in like database as well. So think what works best for you.
Yeah, what's the use case that works for you?
Yeah. So others Kumawat is again asking, can you suggest some Android projects for better internship opportunities and resume building?
There is no such thing called resume building or project building. Keep working on your projects. Maybe keep following some good projects online. Start exploring that. Start doing that. If not, uh, read certain codes, start solving issues of good open source projects. And when you start doing that, you'll get in confidence. Nobody needs project for resumes. You need confidence for that, that you know certain things which no other people do. And when that happens, you generally start lining up for internships. Because, for example, when I was looking for internships, I was reading the code for retrofit. So now I understand the fact how retrofit works. And when you know that as an internship thing, people will generally prefer you first because you know one of the most hottest libraries used, right? So you can utilize that technique, I would say.
Okay, now I will ask you one question. You
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay, so when did you started doing these open source contributions, and
Um,
how did you start? Like, why you did these things? Your story basically.
okay. Why did I do open source? That's an interesting topic because if I'm not wrong, I was given a task of building a circular progress bar, right? And at that circular progress bar, I wanted to build like an app in UI. Just a sec, give me a moment.
Okay, guys, so you can ask if you have, but don't ask specific coding question because it is not possible to answer it on a live stream.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was back. So
Yeah.
okay, so I wanted to build something which was very similar to an Apple device UI. So what I did was I built that started working fine for me, and I pushed it online, right? That this is something we need. That is, I think, what was library. Now I don't have it. I archived it, but uh, and at that point I remembered that a lot of people wanted to use that. It was not just me. Then I realized what open source actually stand for, and then I started building certain projects. Like I built a free chat SDK on Firebase, and
Yeah.
that exploded or something happened, and then I realized and started building libraries.
Okay, so your chat SDK name was Gappa. What is it?
Gappe. It was a Punjabi word
Gappa.
of saying let's talk.
Okay. So maybe the viewers can check it out if they
Yeah,
want to build a
but
chat
now
or
that is
something
also
like that.
old code. Don't judge me
Yeah.
on that code. It was very old. But I have a lot of couple of others libraries called Calendar. I have another Pluck. I have a chart library for Compose. So I started building that then again, and it worked fine.
Okay.
So what are the
So
questions?
Abhijit is again asking, uh,
Mm-hmm.
yes, the question is pretty much same. What's your opinion on MVI libraries like Orbit or Flow Redux?
Okay. So how do I put it? Do not associate again with your library because libraries are just a wrapper for you. Uh, I would highly say Orbit. I think is good one. If I'm not wrong, it's of Spotify or something. Orbit, but yes, they are nice, but understand the underlying logic, how that has been built. Like, understand how people work with it and why it was necessary for you to use. First, yourself, you should build a small wrapper of an MVI library, how that should work. If you understand the crux of bits and parts, then use that and then start using that library. So that will make you feel confident enough that you're not just using a library, but you understand it. Because let's say if I ever interview you and you tell me that you know MVI, I will never ask you that do you know how to use Orbit. I'll ask you what's an MVI and how you can use it, right? So there's a difference between using a library and knowing the context and the crux of it. So first understand that. If you are good enough in that, then move on to a using library.
Yes, yes, always clear your basics first. So that's the thumb rule here. Okay, I will take another question. Phantom is asking how to use Supabase in Android. I don't know this word. Do you know it? Something
I have
Supabase.
heard about it. It Super is pretty much similar like Firebase, if I'm not wrong. I'm not sure exactly. So you have to check the
Okay.
documentation. I'm so sorry.
So yeah, there are a lot of tools in market, and it's not possible to know about everything. Okay, we also don't know about everything, so we never claim that we know everything. Okay, so Ackerman is again asking, I'm pretty intermediate in Android, but when things go deep dive, like how things work internally or things related to OS and all, then it becomes hard for me to understand it. How can I deal with it? That's a nice question.
Ye- Yeah, that's a nice question. I have been through it. So, there's a very good saying that if you want to understand better code, start coding. So, if you have to understand good projects, keep deep diving into it. There's no limit to it. Keep learning, keep understanding, keep refactoring good codes and not, right? So, at that point, you'll understand. So, for example, go to Glide's code. You'll understand how Glide works. Secondly, you go to Retrofit's code, understand, learn that. So you will not understand everything at once. Give it some time. With time, you'll understand it. Give it 30 days, 25 days to understand it. I highly recommend you to read any of the good library codes, which has over 10,000 stars, and it's an old one, and I've maintained one, obviously. So, for example, if you, what's the name? If you use Retrofit, for example, you learn how okay HTTP works, how header works, and everything underlying it, so that you just do not think about that. I just called an API service interface and everything works under the hood. What is that magic you need to understand, right? So that's how you should be learning. Give yourself time. Give yourself some confidence that okay, it's not going to happen in one day. It's going to happen in 20 days. So, am I committed enough for 20 days or not? That's the question you need to ask.
Okay, now I'll take another one. Uh, okay, let's try to answer this. Let's say I want to download a huge file and save to my device. To do this in background, what method you generally use? Thread, handler, async executor, or RxJava, or coroutine or work manager?
Wow. Okay, that also depends on your use
Basically,
case, but yeah. So if
basically
I have to
downloading a
download
huge
a
file.
zip
Let's
file,
say a video. Yeah, let's say you want to
okay.
download a video. What you will do?
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll trigger it on a foreground service using a work manager because that's something that will never be killed, and I can also monitor the progress, and as well as work manager because it's now delegated to a worker thread which works there, so not on the main thread as well. My choice would be that, but if I have to be more simple, more calm, I would use any of the few famous libraries, download managers or kind of a thing, use that for downloading it. But yes, if I have to have a generic idea, I'll trigger it with work manager to a foreground service. Foreground service will show me the status and work manager will download the data for me in the worker thread. But yes, as a choice as well, I'll any day use coroutines. Work manager is another thing, but not Rx. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. My answer is also the same. So there is one more question. I find it weird, but uh, like if we go to Web3, there are many SDKs and resources for Flutter, but not much resources available for Kotlin. I don't agree with this. What are your views on this? So you also say.
Okay, it could be controversial one, but it's your time to shine. If there is no content, please create. Well, I'm pretty sure there should be content for Kotlin, but if you want to
Yeah.
have the first market strategy thingy, just go and create contents. Do not think about it if there is one or not. Just make sure you create yours.
No,
Simple.
but I think he's asking, he needs to learn things and he's not finding much resources for Kotlin, but he has resources to learn Flutter and Dart. So,
Oh no, that's not true. Go to minddogs.com.
yeah.
Even don't go anywhere. Go to Kotlin's documentation. It's very nice. It's one of the best intuitive UI where you can learn stuff. So I would say that's a good place to start.
And one more question was for baseline profile. I cannot find it. Let me check. Okay, I'll take the latest one. Is there any platform benefit of migrating to async data store given that currently I am only using shared preferences for simple key value stores?
I would highly say we should start using migrating to data store because of the reason is internally and the background it's not working on the main thread. For shared preference, you need to trigger them there. And this is a practical example which I remember. Shared preference has a limit. After a certain limit, it's a huge limit though, but it has a limit. After that limit, if you start storing it, it will start crashing. It will throw some exception. I'm not sure it was ages back, but there is some exception. So, data store, you should migrate to it because it will give you a chance to work with coroutines or the RX, whatever you work with. It does not work on the main thread and it is working async, as you mentioned. So, please do it. But if you're, again, It should not come at the cost of your company or your revenue.
So one more question: is it fine to directly learn Kotlin without knowing Java? I would say yes. You also answer this.
Yeah, please go ahead. Kotlin and Java are pretty similar, but they are two separate languages altogether. So patterns are different,
Yeah,
everything is different. So if you learn Kotlin, just go for it.
yeah. I would like to add one more thing. Like you can learn any language without learning any specific language before learning that language. Okay, so
Correct.
it's true for any language that you want to learn. That's, but I would say stick to the basics. So that should be clear always.
Again, uh, adding on to your part, uh, it should not
Yeah,
be if you know a language or not. What should be important is, do you know the basics right? Do you know what variable does is bigger question, not how to define a variable. Do you know what loop to use rather than knowing the how for loop to be written for? So you should know basics, and if your basics is strong, you can do anything. As in English, if you know the alphabets, you can make a sentence or a word.
yeah. So Saf, Ackerman, I think I misrepresented his question. So let's take it again. No, I am asking for Web3 integration with
I,
Kotlin.
I don't know, something is wrong with the internet, not mine. Oh, I don't know.
My network is also fine. Let me check my internet,
But
guys.
yeah,
Just a sec. I'll go offline for a second because I'm reconnecting my internet. Okay. Hello. I'm there. Himanshu.
Hello. Yeah, I
Uh,
can hear
can
you.
you hear me? Okay, so I think it should be fine now.
Right?
So yeah, he was asking for Web3 integration with Kotlin. What do you
Yep,
would
yep.
like to say?
Hello.
You heard my question? Hello? Both audible. Are you there, Himanshu? I think so. Am I there, guys? Please comment. Hello? You there? Yes, you are in 4K. Wow.
Hello.
Yeah, I think my network is perfect and something wrong in your side.
Mine is perfect. I just checked. I'm getting the good speed. Oh,
Yeah, tech glitches. Okay. Himanshu, you can turn off your camera, I think, and let's try, or else we'll end it and we'll do it sometime next week.
yeah, I can try it this way, but I'm not sure.
I think there are noise in your side, like uh, some noises are coming. Okay, I think today is not a good day to do this, so we'll schedule it like next week. I'm not available, so maybe after next week. What do you say? Okay, guys. So Himanshu went some problem in his side. So and I am sorry that I messed up today's stream because it was my first time. I was trying a lot of tools, but finally I end up with StreamYard. It is working fine. So I will try this for coming streams. And for now, if you want to ask me anything, you can, and I will answer. I have a keen interest in the backend too, so if I want to start with it, should I go for Spring Boot with Java, Kotlin, or Ktor? Again, you should learn the basics first, like how a backend works. And then, like if you know Spring Boot, you can easily write codes in Kotlin or Ktor. That's not a problem because I have worked with Spring Boot and Ktor as well. So I think I will end the stream now. So thanks for joining, guys, and I'm sorry that I messed up the schedule. So next time I will take care about this. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please subscribe and don't forget to don't share this video because it is not a good one. But yeah, please join the next stream and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.